But glad I'm still alive.
How you doing?
Eh,
You see me out and around, so we were wondering. Hadn't got a notice yet.
Haven't been out.
Already voted to do that, but that, a years went by so
Yes,
fast.
yeah, we're just asking for the north side for that street closure, roughly from 7:30 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. Our festival is going to run from 10 to 2, but just allow everyone to set up from the tier.
Okay,
What do you want me to do?
I'm just gonna see if there's any questions before I say anything, because I usually jump the gun too fast. I make a motion to approve, the LaGrange County Arts request to close the north side of Michigan Street and along Detroit Street in front of the courthouse.
Okay, we got a motion and a second for the arts to close Michigan Street from High Street to Detroit Street and across the front of the courthouse for the food trucks from 7 to 3 o'clock.
7:30 to 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Good deal.
Okay.
Thank you. I enjoy going down there. We got
Yeah.
some talented people. in
We
this
do.
town, yeah, I'm telling you.
Please come
Oh,
join us.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Take care. Lori, what do you got for us tonight? Anything?
Bank reconciliation for May. I sent out a report for everyone. You?
Anybody have anything over the bank reconciliation? Any questions?
I reviewed and I make a motion to approve May bank reconciliation. Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the May bank reconciliations. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I think that's all I have. I set some other things for you guys to review if you're interested. And then talk about it. Attachments to the email.
The only thing that, Lori and I sat here and talked a little bit, is the EV charging infrastructure. And, we do have 2 parking lots where we could put EV stations in. Now, whether or not we can get electricity run to them and what all would be required in that. They have, different, sizes of chargers. They've got a direct current fast charger. And that would be a maximum of 75% of the project cost and a maximum of 200,000 per location. They also have a level 2 charger that's 75% and 10,000 per location. And these are grants through the Indiana Secretary of State. It might just be something to take a look at. We're always trying to get people downtown, and electric cars are still out moving around. There would be an app that if you want to take a trip across the United States, LaGrange should pop up and show that we have charging stations here. And this might be one way to bring some people in to our restaurants and walk around our courthouse, look at our brick streets, and take pictures of our cows on the side of the building. Enjoy themselves sitting on the benches at the courthouse. So, food for thought. Everybody think about it a little bit. They had a thing today in Fort Wayne that we could have went down and listened to their spiel on it, but they make that. So.
Tomorrow in South Bend.
Yeah, there's one tomorrow in South Bend. I don't think I'll make that one either, so. South Bend Transportation, South Lafayette Boulevard. If anybody wants to go over and look at this and see, whether it makes sense to have something like that, just, get with us after the meeting here. We can do it. Lafayette, there's also one in Lafayette, that's on the 18th. And then if you want to drive clear over to Hammond, maybe view some grandkids or something. That would be close in that area.
My grandkid?
You could, that's from 12 to 2. So just saying. That's the only thing that I had that I thought we need to talk about tonight.
That's it for me.
Anybody have anything else for Lori?
She put the straw bale art thing in here, and I will say I saw a whole bunch of those last year, and they're just pretty neat. So I'm hoping somebody around here will put some up.
We did get a grant for park from the community foundation for the second Saturday. So it's going to be $11,000.
Oh, yeah. Are you?
I think
Submitting
that
it?
needs to go into the sign. Well, that's excellent.
That's excellent. Thank you, the community
Yes.
foundation for that.
That's,
Yeah, that pays our bands for the season. So,
They've done it the last couple of years. So
good deal.
yeah,
That's great.
thanks for following up with that.
they emailed me and asked me a couple questions, I answered them, and then they said we were getting $1,000. So
That's
it was
great.
really.
You got any
tricky.
other $1,000 ones you're forgetting
I
about?
wish I could come up with several more of those, but not off the top of my head.
Okay. If you think of any while during the meeting, don't be afraid to bring it up. Okay, thank you. Well, that's a great deal. That's our second Saturdays is a good thing. Everybody seems to have a good time. Our park's doing really good.
Yeah.
Kids are playing in water when it's 40 degrees
Yeah, they are.
outside. Gee, my gosh.
Yeah. No, on Saturday.
Anybody else have anything for Lori? Mark, you got anything?
Yeah, I put it on here that Chris passed his, one certification test, so
Yeah.
he's got one more to go. I think that Wednesday.
Good.
We'll pass that one too.
Got confidence.
I do too. I think he's able, he should pass it fine. The only thing I really have is, to replace the one leaking valve that we have at Poplar and Wayne. I need to put another valve in to be able to shut it off, to be able to cut it out. I have 3 bad valves in that area.
I was gonna say, didn't we just do some valves down there?
Yeah, I had to use them all, to fix a main break, and they all started leaking and having issues.
Oh, no.
I know, and it's just a certain age range that it's like that 50 to 75 years.
Mm.
Like I went and used the older ones that are like 100 years old and they were fine. So
Isn't that funny?
yeah, this is how it works. So
Out of these 3 bids here, do you have one that you would rather have?
well, the one for 26,000 is one of those that's new and improved and the best thing. So I more or less got that just to see what it was at, which is about $10,000 cheaper than a few years ago. But I would rather go with EJP. Not only are they the cheapest, but I just like their valve. I used the valve for the other 2 because I think they use the same person, and they're not working great. So I mean, they cost 10 to 13 grand to put in. They might work once and then they don't work anymore. And they're supposed to, but that's new technology, so you don't get guarantees.
They won't
Yeah,
replace it or anything?
you can't really,
I mean, does it have a light or no light?
they have kind of a warranty, but you don't use them a lot, and then, you use it in 5 years and it doesn't work all of a sudden, so it's like, you're out of that warranty period, but it should work, but like I said, they're not proven,
Mm.
so you kind of want to steer clear from those, because we have probably like 5 or 6 since I've been here that we put in like that, and about 2 of them don't work, so it's not the best record for them.
So your preference would be the number 1?
The number 4, actually, like I
Number
said,
4.
number 1, ideally in the future, would be cheap enough, because it's just really neat what that one is. It's a better product. It basically cut a actual valve in. It's hard to explain, but you get way more for that one, but it's still twice as much as the rest of them. So yeah, I would suggest that one EJP.
You just need one valve.
Yeah, just one.
I make a motion to buy a valve from EJP for $12,470.
I second.
Got a motion and a second to purchase a valve for our water line from EJP for $12,470. Any further discussion? The only thing I have is that if the other ones aren't testing, and the $26,000 one is the newest technology, and you have a high expectation that it would work better than the other ones, and not be having to dig up that road for the 47th time down through there because the other valves are failing. Would we be better off cost-wise in the future to spend the $26,000 now and not have a valve that in 5 years we can't shut off and turn on and have to dig it back up again for another $12,000 or more?
I think yes, if our planning is more in place. If we knew that we weren't gonna touch that road for another 10 to 20 years. But if we know that we're gonna do a project there, I think it might be a waste. So I met with Mark and John and Sue the other day just to kind of discuss some things like that, so we can get an idea of future projects, so we can start getting some of these things hashed out a little easier. But I think as of right now, I'm comfortable with the one for 12,470. I mean, we have several others in town and they work great, so.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Anybody have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mark.
I guess just so you know, that's they give you a valve and then they have to basically, you dig the hole for them. They do all the work on the main and basically do it while it's under pressure. And they insert that valve too, so you're getting all the services with it. Half that price is probably the valve, so.
That's good.
And then we already have some extra valves from previous projects that we'll use this valve then to shut off the main so we can cut in our own valve, so we're actually gonna do 2 valves for this.
So the valve you're cutting in, what brand is that?
It's gonna be very similar to the one that they would use for that $26,000. But,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, the valve itself isn't. It's a lot different, but very similar, I guess. So just hard to explain.
But obviously you feel confident.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it works like it's supposed to, then we'll be able to do the next part of the project, which is put another valve in. And doing that in-house be cheaper than $13,000, so. Especially since we already own the valve.
Okay. Makes sense. Just asking.
That's all I got.
Nice. Thank you, thank you.
We kind of talked about it in our RDC is 5 plates. And how to get water to them out of a 2-inch line.
Mhm.
Since that's what they ran over there years ago to, I'm guessing but it is ARC over there now, and that.
Yeah, I think that was the
Council on
main
Aging.
idea.
And did they run that 2-inch line down to Butcher Bob's in too?
No,
So he's on a well down there?
yes.
I don't,
It's kind of few and far between as far as water structure in that area.
I'm just wondering, I'm not sure. I know they talked about trying to hook into somebody else's hydrant system, but I don't think that the insurance company would allow that. That's just me being an old fireman.
Well, I think,
That'd be dedicated.
that, the owner down there, the Dometic building, that's still all private. I believe it is, right, Jeremy, still.
Yeah. And so it's, we're probably gonna have to come up with some kind of a diagram, because I don't think a 2-inch line to 5 lakes is the coffee that they would be doing.
I just emailed them today, our flow test that we did from 20 in Poplar. And basically explained to them and put in a map, that's what they have to sum about running. So you would get enough water if you just need a bathroom, but if you need fire suppression, it's not gonna work obviously, or if you need a lot more flow, then we do have the ability to bore a 2-inch line just for them. Like either,
And that'd come down along 20, or you're gonna have to cut in back on Poplar at, Rawlson and come down through Wayne and
You
then
do
tie in
that.
there.
you do right there off Poplar, or you could bore under 20 to.
Come from the other side.
Mhm. I know, it's still, neither one's easy, one's long and one's
One's
pays
paved.
the state permit, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I will say, since it's us, the state doesn't make us have as much stuff in line, so they trust us for it, so.
Right. Well, I would say that if we do something like that, we need, in case there would be any growth along railroad, to maybe make that big enough that we could tie into that and go down that street there, since we didn't do it before, so.
Yeah, I can see why though, they would have had to have brought a main down the street first, this to it, so.
think of the future.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for Mark?
No.
Thank you. I'm gonna jump ahead. Jeremy, what do you got for us? You can blame that on Carolyn. She's over here drawing pictures on my.
Being an angel.
Oh, yeah, she is. She's being really good.
You're great. I'm glad you're here.
I think she needs a sucker. Don't we have suckers over there?
That's exactly what she needs.
Yeah.
Real quick, we got the monthly totals is 53 runs this last month. 20 fire. So, nothing crazy there. Pretty normal.
Where's
The
it?
mark report.
Oh, is it in Mark's report? Yeah. Oh, okay, there it is.
Um,
Oh, yeah, I do remember now.
I believe there was a whole lot of reports that were sent on this one. Okay, so we're ironing that out, so. Also, the only other thing I have is, we had our ladder tested, or we need to have our ladder tested. They can do ground ladders as well. I have an estimate here from, it's just the overall recommended company. The guy that does the repairs, he sent me here, Grovis sent me here. This is.
Probably
the
run
premier-
reviews for years and years and years.
I
so,
think they did it last year.
Yeah,
So,
what kind of a quote you got there?
I have a quote here, if they, says the aerial only is 1,800 per unit. We only have one unit, of course. Then they can do some ground ladders for $2.50 a foot, which
Whoa.
$2.50 a foot.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
I also got, yeah. But when you go from 1,800, I thought.
Yeah. Holy moly, we got 10-foot ladders out there.
I don't know, it's broken down a couple of different ways here. With the ground ladders. The aerial inspection and putting the heat stamp on it. It's not due, I guess, quite yet, so we can pass this around, we can talk about it, we can look at it.
All right, what kind of, give me a number.
That's what I have, there's 1,800 per unit and $2.50 per foot.
Oh, you don't have a.
But you don't, they don't have a,
I don't know how many ladders we have out there by foot.
oh, yeah.
They were done last year. We gotta have them done. So
Yeah, we gotta have them done, so.
I can find out exactly how.
How soon do you have to have that information? Can we wait till the next meeting?
Of course, yeah, I think we got this done September last year.
Oh, okay.
I can be wrong.
Well, we should have that in the record if we paid it, right?
Yeah, but.
Jeremy, if it helps, the ground ladders were done when the hose testing was done, and it was, I don't remember the company, but that'd be the.
Well, that's the thing is this company here, they decided
Yeah, the
they
aerial
can do
too,
those
yeah.
grounds too.
I'm not sure about that. If that helps with your square or your foot per ladder.
Yeah, figuring that out.
I mean, do we just
We can wait till the next meeting. and let
accept
you
this
guys
rate
look at
without
it.
having a total number then? I mean, we're just accepting the
Yeah,
250.
It's nothing that we can.
Okay.
We have to have it. In order for the trucks to be certified and them guys to climb a ladder, they have to have this.
No, I'm
It's,
saying that we can't just make a motion to approve this 1,800 and the two,
Yes,
to
we
just go
can.
these numbers. You don't need a grand total right now. Okay. Then I make a motion to move forward with our ladder testing to be completed before September of 2025. Second.
Got a motion and a second to have our ladders tested before September of 2025, $1,800 for our aerial and $250 a foot for all of our ladders individually per foot. Each ladder per foot. So that everybody. Any further discussion? All in favor?
And
Opposed? Motion carried. Give them a call, let them know that we're.
All right. Thanks for letting me jump in.
Hey, no problem. Take care. Thanks a lot.
How'd baseball go?
Sorry?
How'd the baseball game go?
One team did really well,
Oh,
33-8.
wow.
Oh, my.
Whoa.
I guess so.
The Amish stacked one team.
Yeah, no doubt. They're good ball players. Wastewater. Sue, you got anything other than your report? Anybody, have any questions about the report?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, I'm not in prison yet, so good sign. So do you know who contaminated your, do you? Okay.
We knew we knew it was a risk taking it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
We wanted to see what the plant would actually do with it.
Well, it's a
And
good
the
thing
fact
it
that
survived.
Took a day for it to biologically take care of it. Pretty good, actually.
Yep. Okay. Any further questions? Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas. John, he on here? Can't see. Anything.
Yep, I'm on here.
Sweet.
All I got is the report, what we did.
Yeah, busy, I'll tell you. I read this the other day. Anybody have any questions about John?
No, just personal thank you. His team was out. We had a huge branch break off my tree, so thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Yep, town looks nice.
My husband couldn't believe it. He came home to work on it and they already had it all done.
Yeah, I believe that. All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Cemetery, Amber on.
No.
Anybody have any questions over the cemetery? I was at one the other day and, our cemetery looks like a golf course compared to theirs. And, our people are doing a wonderful job out there, I'll tell you. It's just amazing. You're walking around through there and you got weeds up to your ankles or higher. And around all the headstones, there was just weeds everywhere. And it's like, holy cow, my buddies get buried in here. So, but maybe they had a lot of rain because it was over west. So, it runs. So, but anyhow, our cemetery looks really nice. So kudos to all of the people that work out there so hard. Okay. Parks.
Nothing for the park department today. Next,
Thank
there,
you.
we do not do second Saturdays in July for anyone listening and for everybody to report in newspapers. There's no July one because that's when the county fair does their big concert.
Oh,
So we skip July. So in August and September, second Saturdays.
anybody else have anything? Rich, you have anything?
I have my request for the equipment for the rears of the SUVs, which I sent you email of. Which I gave you 3 quotes. Those 3 quotes are the storage systems with a locking system. We decided that the locking system that we picked is just a few dollars higher than the other 3, but it's a quality wise and useful between multiple weapons without having to have specific certain weapons. So it's actually cheaper if you look at it that way. So our our request would be for the quote one, which is cargo racks, storage systems, including the block rack locking system for their 2,067 each times 6, which equals $12,402. That's what we'd be requesting to purchase.
I make a motion to Rich to order the cargo rack storage system for the $12,402.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for our police department to order cargo rack storage system for $12,402. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. I brought LaGrange 6, which is Preston Langford. He's had tooth work done today, so he doesn't really want to talk because he sounds funny.
How funny do you
Hey,
sound?
I didn't know that till he walked in. It's like, oh, this will be nice.
Thanks for coming.
But, yeah, I wanted to at least make sure he got here so you can all meet him. And with that, in the past, what we've done during new hires that went to the academy and graduated, once they graduated, we increased their salary. It's roughly $1,000. So basically he's making $24.15 an hour right now, and that would increase it to $24.61 an hour. So I'd be asking to increase his pay because of his graduation at the academy.
I do so move. Second.
Got a motion and a second to increase the salary of our new recruit from graduation by $1,000. Any further debate? Any further discussion?
He will be able to talk that later, right?
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations. Well, Rich said some nice things about you. I don't know, sometimes be careful.
That's all I have for now. You remember yet, Ray?
Well,
I keep pressure on you, you're not gonna
I'm
remember.
not, when I was sitting here, I thought, man, I should be writing that down because I remembered what it was, and now it's gone again, so.
Are you making any headway on that one ordinance violation thing?
Which one?
Which one?
Spring.
Spring Street, yes, I have made a personal visit there, walked through. There is no excessive junk or things that shouldn't be in the yard. There are house materials that are under a tarp behind the fencing for the house repair. But there's no just excessive junk that's sitting in the yard. There was prior to me getting there, because I could see where it was setting, and they were moved. But I did have a conversation with both of them, and that maybe we should be there's some sections of fences that are missing, and that might help neighbor wise enclose those spots so they aren't having to look at it. But they are tarped very, very nicely. It's not junky looking. Isn't something I want to look at? No, but it doesn't,
Right.
that part doesn't really violate our ordinances. So they were going to work on trying to put some fencing in place and enclose that so it is viewed by other people around them.
Yeah,
So they were very willing to work with that. And I think we came to some good agreements there. So.
Okay, anything else for Rich? Okay, thank you. Have a good week. Thursday's been denied. See how he.
Gonna have to suspend it.
Vacation, another vacation.
Oh,
He's trying to get suspended so that he can.
I appreciate your help with the dog situation Sunday.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Mark, have you got anything that we haven't talked about yet?
Yes.
He always has some.
We'll start, you should have on there that I sent you a couple maps. I got
Well, I have, and I know he's talked with Sue as well. We've had Mr. Peter Shine come to us about his projects. And I'm hoping that the two maps that I gave you will kind of help explain this. Basically, what happened is Mr. Peter Shine at this point bought the old Cross RV property and building, but he is in the process of trading that property to the owners of Riverside, who actually own the property on to the west of there. So on the one map, you'll see next to the building, there's a piece of ground that shows I-1, which is the industrial on the second map. They're basically planning a swap. Okay, so here's his thing. He's come to us wanting to hook in well, there'd actually be two buildings, him and another gentleman, both to septics. There's a couple pieces to this. The sewer main that runs behind that property is a force main, and we can't tap into a force main. So to get to where it would be gravity, going either direction would make for a pretty significant run, and he'd have to have a grinder and probably a force main to get there. But as Sue and I looked at this, and we looked at this other picture where you can see that by the old Cross building, you'll see like a little green circle that's on that building. Well, that's actually a manhole, and that manhole is sizably deep. I guess we'll use that term. And when we look at that and the elevations coming across, we believe that it may be possible for him to run a gravity line across there simply when they make this swap, and before he makes the swap with these individuals, he create a utility easement, and then he could come across and tie in. Plus, if they moving forward, if they add additional buildings, which they both talked about, then it becomes a non-issue. We have water running behind, so that's not that big of an issue. And again, all of this is in the county, so it's us being kind, I guess, to some extent. I think your position on this should be is, Mr. Peter Shine is working with his developers and stuff on this. I think that we should require that they explore that as to whether or not that it's possible to do it in gravity. If he can come back, or they come back with some drawings and stuff, or try to allege that it can't be done, then maybe we have to expend some of our funds and have our engineers look at it. But I think he needs to prove to us it can't. If Sue and I are wrong and the distance doesn't work or it can't be created, then yeah, it would be very costly for him to install the pump and the force main. And maybe that's something that you consider, but it's going to be limiting to that property moving forward. They're never going to let him build additional buildings. You can't tie multiple buildings in. And if we're right, and I think we are, and that it would work, then it solves that, and it gives that property, if each of them want to put up an additional building, it would still work. And they're going to be shoving some dirt. So if it's close, some earthwork on the elevations of where they set the buildings, because he wants to set the proposed 2 new buildings close to 20, which doesn't help him from the process of wanting to attach, to what's there. But, the shortest distance would involve that building being in the way. But when Sue and I looked at this, I believe they can come across and put a couple 45 angles in or whatever, and they can get to that, and it would still flow and it would still work. And if he's logical, when he puts that in, he'll upsize that pipe so that if they are intending to add some additional buildings in the future, they don't have an issue. As far as the sewer flow, I don't think he's going to have a huge flow. It doesn't sound like, based off what they're doing, it's basically going to be a restroom or 2 and probably a break room in these buildings. But I think that should at least initially the town's position, not that we'll just waive any connection and to keep it septic tanks, so. There you go. That's my thought on it, but we can do whatever you want to do. But he's going to be, he and or Alfredo are gonna be, in the county are gonna be looking for something, and I think that should be our response, because in the beginning, I kind of understood what he was saying, but then as Sue and I went out and thought about that and looked at that property, I think there's a way to do that. If they really want to swap that property, it shouldn't be that huge of an element for his guy that's drawing this up, and when they're making the swap, to just create a utility easement across the piece that he owns so that they can then make the swap and he has a path to get to the sewer. So that's my thoughts. There you go. I don't know how you feel about that, but if you're good with that, that would be my response back to them.
You've done a lot more research than I have.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but I agree with what Mark says. I think that they ought to explore that. We cannot allow.
Well, and I think when Sue and I think if I explain this to Alf and he sees it in that mechanism, I think they're gonna be much harder pressed to get him to sign off. I think he might have done it as all of us were in the beginning, and that buildings had moved from front to back or whatever. And when we were looking at either needing to come up clear beyond the old phone company or come down basically to that property area and tie in to there, it would have been a pretty extensive run coming to the back of his property and then down along the roadside. But on the other side of it is, we've got a really nice 12-inch water main, so Mark doesn't seem to think that 1 or 4 buildings is going to be a problem getting them water. So that gets us.
So what's your feelings on that, folks?
Well, if Mark's okay with it.
Yeah, I'm thinking Mark knows better what with it than we do.
Mark and Sue, they've looked at it.
I say
They've
we
come
leave it
to
up to them.
Census, so I'll entertain a motion.
So we need a motion to go ahead with what Mark proposed.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for Mark and Sue to talk to them and have them draw up a thing and see if they can't hook to that. If they can't, why then we're gonna get our engineers to look at it too, if they can't figure out a way to do that. Because I agree, we need to have that running into our system. And we have to, Mark, maybe you can tell us, if we put a septic tank in there, that leach field, that almost runs in if it would leach down into our water lines, into our underground structure, would almost come right towards town, wouldn't it?
I was just looking at that.
Because I think we're running north.
Our wellhead protection area.
Yeah.
It's
Gotta be pretty close to it that it
close, but,
would run to it. Yeah.
give it a chance.
But it's going in the right direction so that could potentially impact our underground streams. So that's the purpose of wastewater treatment plants, and especially in residential areas, is to keep the water system clean. And so
Are you saying that what they're proposing is bad then?
No.
No.
It is if they put in a septic system.
Yeah.
If they tie into ours, then it goes to our wastewater treatment plant to be treated and put back into the environment.
Okay.
All right, so we got a motion and a second to have Mark and Sue move forward. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Sue, thank you, and Mark, thank you for your diligence on this, because I agree with this.
the next one, just getting everybody up to date, not yesterday, Sunday, but the week prior to that, we had a storm go through and blow a pretty significant, tree branch down at the park. It pretty much destroyed, and we had to remove one of the park benches and some of that. I did do what we're supposed to do based on policy. I contacted the insurance company as well as talking, to Bill. As I put in the report, I mean, our overall damages were far less than our deductible. However, moving forward, if you're on board with this, I believe, in talking both to the insurance company and talking to Bill, the way to address this is that we should have Bill send that property owner a notice and inform him that we feel that that tree is a dangerous tree and that he should remove the tree. I'm not saying that that forces him to necessarily remove the tree or that we go to the step of forcing him to remove the tree. But if we notice him of that and that tree falls again and does any damage to our property or to a person, we greatly reduce the amount of liability that the town would be looking at. I would note when I looked at that, and there is a picture that should be attached there. It shows you how much of it looks dead and the top out of it. Apparently these owners have some children as well, because on the other side of that fence is a trampoline that those kids are playing on underneath that tree.
I didn't get a picture.
And that looks rough, but if it helps, that's kind of what it looks like at this point now.
I know it's there, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate the idea of cutting it down. I like having a shade and a tree. and-
Yeah, I think that should have come down yesterday.
Mhm.
You see that? Oh, yeah, I've seen, there's like the damage it created.
So that would, I mean, if
I
you're
don't
good
like
with
it.
that, I guess I would ask for a motion for Bill to prepare that notice and send it out.
I'll make a motion that we have Bill prepare that so that Mark can send them out.
Second.
A motion and a second for Bill to prepare a document, advising the homeowners to
Can't a professional person look at that tree and know what the potential of it falling over is?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, we're not really trying to get the tree cut down. We're shifting liability for what happens if it falls down.
Oh,
on our property and hit somebody.
yeah.
Right. See, if you notify someone of a dangerous tree, they don't have to cut it down. But if that tree falls, we can then go to his insurance company and say, we notified this property owner and the wind blew, the tree fell, so please pay for our damages. If you don't have a notice on file, it's an act of God and you can't get jurisdiction.
Oh, so what you're saying is we're gonna give them notice.
That's all we're doing. We don't care
Okay.
about him cutting the tree down. That's up to him.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I think there was a few other things that I covered in the report, but unless you have questions on those, I think that's all I have. So that's something for me.
Hey, Bill, what are you doing here?
Well, I was lucky enough that all the people who came decided that instead of burning flesh, they would just sing Kumbaya and go home.
Geez.
Yeah, it was a good evening.
So, I hope all of you had a chance to read this agreement, for, Karen Thyler in the town of LaGrange for, and Champion Well Drilling for the well that they put in there. That Bill drew up. Anybody have any questions about
Actually,
that?
Bill didn't. Her well driller.
Oh, her well driller did that?
Yeah. It's good.
See, I was going to say, I haven't seen that document.
Well, good deal. I thought it looked pretty nice, looked like what we were after. And
There
that
we
was all
go.
you had then, Mark?
Yeah, that's all I have, unless you had something. for me.
Anybody have anything for Mark? Bill, other than what we've already just talked about, did you have anything else?
No, I didn't even think I was gonna get out in time.
Yeah, I was surprised. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Any open discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I
Opposed? Motion carried.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, everybody, for those of you that stayed. I appreciate all your comments. I hope we didn't test your mental capacities too much.
A reminder to the board. I will be.
See you, Bill.